Hello everyone, Jana Labarger here. I just got home from vacation yesterday. Yesterday evening around 8:30 or so. Um, I decided to do my Afterthoughts video for Assassin's Creed Rogue. But before that, um, I might as well just tell you that my trip went well. I got to see a lot of my family, including one of my cousins I've been wanting to see. Um, Poconos are a very gorgeous region of the Appalachian Mountains up in northeastern Pennsylvania. Um, really not much to really say there. I just had a fun time interacting with a lot of my family members who are spread out um, pretty much like all over the place, and all these people are definitely on my mom's side now because my dad's mom passed away a number of years ago. So, getting on to topic, Assassin's Creed Rogue. I told you before I went on vacation that I actually beat the game, and that I was going to do a full-on Afterthoughts video on it about what I thought about it. And, like I said in a previous video, um, Shay is definitely the black sheep of all the protagonists that we've played so far, starting with the very first Assassin's Creed, because he is a Templar. He starts off as an assassin and becomes a Templar over the course of the game. I had kind of hoped that he'd come back to the Brotherhood, but now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense that it went the way it did, because Rogue takes place before, actually, part of the game takes place concurrently with Assassin's Creed 3, and since when Connor first comes into contact with the Brotherhood, only Achilles is left, Achilles Davenport. So, it kind of makes sense that Shay fully became a Templar over the course of the game after his initial turncoat, which I still find kind of sympathetic. And in a sense, even though Rogue was kind of bittersweet for me as a player who's played as some of the greats like Edward Kenway and Ezio Auditore, those characters just make it easy to put the Brotherhood in general up on a pedestal, like they can do no wrong. Like they're really like the best chance that humanity has. Like the Templars um, have absolutely like no redeeming qualities. But along with Hatham, who is one of the more sympathetic Templars, Shay is definitely one of those. The reason why he turned, if you've played the game, is because of what happened in Lisbon, Portugal. I'm still not entirely convinced that the Brotherhood really knew that trying to remove that piece of Eden from the church there would have triggered the earthquake back in 1507, I believe it was. But, so I still think Shay's kind of wrong to blame the Lisbon earthquake on the Brotherhood, as if they knew it would happen. It's just kind of, it's still kind of hard to know that the Brotherhood was knocked down a few pegs, but I guess that just makes them a bit more realistic, as every group that's been in existence, no matter how good their intentions are, does have a dark side. And I think one such group would be PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. If you know anything about them, you know that they are not exactly what they say they are. I know there are good people who support PETA, but I'm inclined to believe that those people don't know what they actually do, which is anything but ethical for animals. Even the founder came out and said that animals honestly don't have the right to exist if they're in the care of humans. They'd rather see companion animals die than have a chance at life, and that's sad. Um, Rogue kind of goes with that angle somewhat. They show you some very sympathetic Templars, like I think it was Colonel Monroe. I think Colonel was his rank. Um, but it's also worth remembering that because we're viewing Shay's memories, of course the Templars would seem a bit more sympathetic, while the assassins were a bunch of jerks. Um, I'm not sure if the story of Rogue would have been presented any differently if we had followed an assassin from beginning to end, like Liam, for instance. I'm pretty sure that if we saw the story of Rogue through Liam's eyes, we'd get the exact opposite from what we saw. We would see the Templars as we've seen them since almost game one with Altair. In a sense, Rogue was kind of necessary to tie into Assassin's Creed 3 because the oldest settlement in America is Jamestown. It's over 400 years old, which makes it older than the country itself. And Assassin's Creed 3 kind of gives the impression that the American branch of the Brotherhood wasn't very well established by the 1770s. But as we've seen in Rogue, it was well established, and we're the ones who guide Shay into dismantling it entirely, leaving only Achilles, and presents the reason why Connor had to rebuild it in Assassin's Creed 3. That's the kind of funny thing. We spend the entirety of Rogue dismantling the American branch of the Assassin Brotherhood, but then Connor comes along and pretty much makes Shay's work moot. And it's like they kind of cancel each other out. One thing I really liked about the ending for Rogue was the lead up to Assassin's Creed Unity, because our very last victim was Charles Dorian, Arno's father. And you can also see that that was probably the point where Shay hit absolute rock bottom from a assassin's and probably even the player's point of view, because he joined the Templars with very good intentions, which was to prevent another Lisbon, and he managed to succeed that with the Arctic Circle. But he and the Templars of his day, it's implied that they're the ones who that start the French Revolution. Shay made his mission to protect the innocent as a Templar, and then at the very end he is willing to go against that, because if it is true that he and the other Templars start the French Revolution, then he broke his own code, which he actually recited at the very end of the game. It kind of makes it not only a very sympathetic Templar, but I guess Rogue could also be seen as a fall from grace kind of story. There's really no denying that the assassins have done some very horrible things over the course of their history. It's just that I think that Rogue is like the first one where we actually see the kind of damage that they can do if they don't follow their creed. Actually, I take that back, because Revelations showed Altair's order. The kind of things that went on when Altair was briefly supplanted from power by one of his own brothers in the order. He lost his youngest son, and again, he had his title taken away as Grand Master. He was pretty much in exile from the age of 82 to 92, and yeah, I guess both Revelations and Rogue both show us that even the assassins have their difficulties, because like the Templars, they're humans like the rest of us. They make mistakes. I'm pretty sure even Ezio made mistakes, even though, as we've seen in Brotherhood with the Christina memories. He thought he was doing the right thing when it came to her, but we've seen that everything he did involving her was just so painful that his genome blocked those memories off. Because everything that had to do with her was just incredibly painful for Ezio to remember. Because if he had done things differently, things would have been different for him. And that's another reason why I like Revelations, because it gives him a second shot at love and such. On the scale of the protagonist that I really liked, Shay I think ranks at number, I'd have to say, probably number 4 or 5. It's kind of hard for me to really decide how much I really like him, because he does have some sympathetic leanings. I just can't see how he could possibly blame the assassins for Lisbon. The Arctic Circle mission at the very end of the game, obviously the assassins learned from Lisbon what would happen if they were to remove it, and I just don't know why they would actually want to go there and attempt to remove the artifact that was in the Arctic Circle, because it can't do much damage there unless it generates a huge wave. I'm pretty sure that if it destroyed wherever it was in the Arctic Circle, it would generate a wave that would wipe out coastal cities. I'm sorry, I'm struggling trying to get this down. It's just been a very long week. I'm having a hard time really finding what I want to talk about. I guess in a sense I don't like Shay as much as some of the other protagonists I've played as, which I know only involves Altair, Ezio, Connor, and Edward. And I'm hoping to play as Aveline when I get the Americas collection later this month. But Shay's just one of those, definitely a bigger black sheep than even Hatham. Like I said before, I can't exactly consider Hatham a traitor anymore, because Edward was training him in the ways of the assassins, but because Edward was killed when Hatham was just a kid, it's not really a true turncoat sort of deal with him. So playing as Shay was kind of hard a bit, especially when I went up against the major assassins in the American Order. When it comes to the gangs that you can fight in New York, I didn't really see them as assassins, mainly because I think they were just gangs that were affiliated with the assassins, but weren't assassins themselves, so I really had no issue killing them, or any of the French, or even any of the French soldiers and seamen that you can fight in the forts and on the ships. Both groups were just easy to look at as like the Borgia soldiers. Not a real big issue to kill. But when it came to characters like Hope and Liam, it was just hard. And Adewale, even though I know next to nothing about him because I haven't played Liberations yet, but you can tell that they still believe in what they were doing is right. It's just kind of hard to tell how far away they've gone from the Creed, because I doubt that if they had followed the Creed as well as the Italian Brotherhood in Ezio's day, they probably would not have been so easy to dismantle over the course of Rogue. There's no denying that Shay is skilled. He's very skilled. He used his assassin training in service for the Templars, and he was very good. It was just hard to be an assassin hunter instead of the actual assassin. I was actually wondering, is he still part of Desmond's line? And if so, which half? We know that Altair's on Desmond's mother's half, while I think the Kenways were on his father's side. And I believe the Auditore were also on Desmond's mother's side. So um, where do the Cormacs fit in with this? And this is kind of touching on Unity a bit, which I won't be able to watch on YouTube which I still need to watch on YouTube actually. Where do the Dorians fit in? And I think another thing I need to figure out is Adeline even part of Desmond's bloodline, or is she uh, or is she part of a different bloodline? Like with the case of Daniel Cross, I think there was actually an assassin that we play as who was not part of Desmond's line, but part of Daniel Cross's line. My knowledge on the lore is lacking at the moment because it's been a while since I've been into Assassin's Creed to this extent. So that's what I'm kind of hoping to find out. I'm still looking forward to Syndicate. I'm still wondering where Jacob and Evie will fit in with this. Would I replay Assassin's Creed Rogue? That depends. The mission where I had to kill Hope was a very tough one. I was struggling with that one. I actually didn't go back to that mission for quite some time. I spent a lot of it out at sea, taking forts, taking ships, building up the Morrigan. And then I got involved with Assassin's Creed 1. I finally figured out how I'm supposed to do it, because the way that the missions are set up, when you complete the first round in each city, they don't tell you they don't give you a waypoint to find. They just tell you which direction you need to go in, and then you actually have to find the waypoint yourself. So when I get a chance, I'll be getting back on Assassin's Creed 1 and finishing up that game. And then probably either in conjunction or after that, I'll be finishing up Bloodlines. I think that's really all I wanted to say. Like I said, I'm sorry this isn't really my best video, but I think you can forgive me because I've been gone for 9 days, having fun with the family. I did a little research on FNAF 4, so I'm probably going to be sharing some of my thoughts on that in conjunction with the rest of the FNAF games. Probably just as a little preview, I'm surprised that the animatronic that was actually involved with the Bite of 87, I'm surprised that it was not Mangle, because Mangle had, according to game theorists, had a very compelling reason why, and just the fact that her kill animation is her flying right at your face from the ceiling. So the fact that she was not the one that bit the victim of the Bite of 87 kind of came as a surprise. So I don't know when I'll get that video up, but when I do, I'll see you then. So until next time, this is Janet Liebauer signing out.